Are you an entrepreneur who struggles with ADD, focus, attention, social anxiety, or even a lack of confidence? If you answered yes to any of those questions, I think you're going to like today's video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about a nootropic or a supplement called Phenibut. And Phenibut is kind of an alternative to ADD. It helps you focus. It helps you be more social. It helps get rid of social anxiety. And it helps you feel kind of more relaxed and more confident. Now, I've been kind of taking Phenibut. I don't take it regularly. It's not something I take every day. But I've been kind of playing with it for the past, I hate to say playing with it. That sounds like I'm using it or something like that. I've probably been taking it for about the past 2 months. However, in those 2 months, I've probably only taken it 4 to 6 times. It is something that can cause dependence, and so it's something that I try not to take very often, and I try to take only when I need it. Now, I personally am somebody who has ADD. I have a prescription for Adderall and a prescription for Vyvanse, and while they can really help me focus, the negative side effects of these ADD drugs are, in some ways, you know, as much as I can be very focused and very productive, the negative side effects of taking these drugs can almost be worse than the positive gains that you get from it. And one of the things that I really liked about Phenibut is it doesn't have a lot of the negative side effects that Adderall or Vyvanse has. There's no grinding your teeth. There's none of that like tension in your neck and shoulders that you get, you know, taking like a stimulant like Adderall. And also, you know, Adderall kind of like changes my personality a little bit. It kind of makes me a little bit less creative. In some ways, it almost maybe makes me either over the top, like talkative and stuff, or kind of more socially anxious. And what's kind of cool about Phenibut is it's a much cleaner, a much more subtle way of kind of dealing with all the issues that I mentioned. Now, I may have mentioned Phenibut in a couple other videos that I've done. But I don't think I've actually done a video dedicated to Phenibut or talking about Phenibut. And kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get this video out is because it looks like Phenibut is going to be banned by the FDA in the near future. A lot of the brands that were making Phenibut products have stopped making them. It used to be a supplement that you could buy on like eBay and Amazon. It's no longer being sold on eBay or Amazon as far as I know, and even a lot of like supplement stores and things like that have stopped selling it. There is still like 1 or 2 brands out there that are still kind of all over the place, but I believe the FDA is kind of starting to send out warning letters to companies who make it and people who sell it. So if this is something that either you have used in the past and liked, or something that you just want to try out, I would suggest getting it sooner rather than later. Phenibut is really big in Russia. I just learned of it more recently. However, now that I think about it, I think I do recall on some forum like years ago, because I've always kind of had a mild interest in like nootropics and things like that. And I think I do recall a couple years ago in a forum, somebody mentioning Phenibut and like just talking about it like it was this wonder drug. And I think somebody had mentioned that like the Soviet astronauts used to take it in space to kind of like, you know, just provide a positive sense of well-being and help with stress, because I'm sure it has to be like stressful being like out in space, and if something were to go wrong at any minute, like you're gonna die. And so like I think it kind of mellowed them out. Now, one thing I'll say right off the bat, like I hate when people make things sound like some like miracle cure-all drug for everything. Like a lot of people are doing that with like CBD. A lot of people do that with weed. Phenibut, to me, it's a pretty amazing supplement, a pretty amazing nootropic. Although let me throw out a couple negatives first. If you are somebody who is prone to headaches, a lot of people who are prone to headaches, you know, do kind of say that Phenibut can kind of cause headaches within them. Phenibut is also something that you'll quickly develop a tolerance to, and something that that you can develop a dependence on. And so like I really don't like taking any, you know, like coffee is probably like my worst vice. Like I can't start my day without coffee, and overall I think it's kind of bad to have like crutches or things that you're like completely dependent on. So I tried, you know, as much as I would like love to take Phenibut on a regular basis, it's something that, like, unless I really have a project that I really need to focus on a lot, it's something that I try not to take. And like I said, I mean, I probably don't even take it once a week. I took one earlier today, and it's probably been weeks since I took one before then. So it's an amazing supplement if used in moderation, we'll say. Now, Phenibut is, as far as like effects, it provides kind of a just kind of an overall sense of well-being. A lot of people kind of describe it as like, think about how you feel naturally on just a great day, right? Like you wake up, like the sun's shining, you're feeling good, you're in a positive mood. That's kind of what Phenibut makes you feel like, right? Like it's not like this artificial, like I just did some ecstasy or I just did a line of coke. Like it's not this like chemical induced good feeling. It's a much more subtle, like, wow, I feel like I'm at my best, or I feel like how I feel just naturally, but like waking up on a good day. I'm somebody who kind of deals with like social anxiety. I'm kind of a weirdo. And Phenibut just kind of takes away all social anxiety, kind of takes away inhibitions a little bit, which is kind of another cool feature. So like, you know, I mentioned kind of if you're an entrepreneur who struggles with social anxiety, if you have to take a client out to lunch, if you're going to some type of like business conference where you're going to have to be networking or making small talk with a lot of people, and you're somebody who naturally is kind of deals with social anxiety, Phenibut will make you feel great. It'll make you really kind of talkative. Will take away any of that kind of awkwardness or social anxiety that you normally have, which I think is one of the best effects of it. Now, Phenibut can also be used as a sleep aid, which kind of is contradictory to using it as like a focus or like productive supplement, right? But the sleep aspect of it tends to kick in when you're taking higher doses. And the person who actually turned me on to Phenibut actually recommended taking it with caffeine, just to kind of override that kind of maybe little bit of like sleepiness or whatever. And also it just kind of amplifies the effects. Like you kind of get the social anxiety taken away, plus the caffeine might make you like a little bit more energized and a little bit more talkative. And I've done a little bit of research on it. A lot of people say like Phenibut also works on an empty stomach. So like one of the best times to take Phenibut is if you're somebody who doesn't eat breakfast, which I don't, taking a Phenibut with your morning coffee. So you're taking it on an empty stomach, plus you're taking it with caffeine, which just kind of helps make it work a little bit faster and a little bit better. I hadn't really planned out this video. I just kind of turned on the camera and started running with it. So, like I said, you know, if you have social anxiety, if you have ADD, I mean, to me, Phenibut is so much better than like Adderall or Vyvanse. Like when I take Adderall or Vyvanse, sometimes I get this like really like stimulated feeling behind my eyes, and it's like kind of hard to focus on a computer screen. There's times when like Adderall almost gives me like too much energy, to the point where like I'll have like 27 tabs open on my computer, but I'm not really working on any of the things that I need to work on. It gives me a lot of like tension in my neck and almost kind of that like teeth grinding, like, you know, like that kind of thing. I remember like years ago, you know, I've had a subscription. I've had a subscription to Adderall. I've had a prescription to Adderall for years. And I feel like it used to be like this amazing thing. And over the years, it's kind of, I've kind of started to kind of hate the effects more and more and more. So it's something that I very, very rarely take unless I really have to like hammer on some project or I'm really struggling with focus. But I absolutely like hate the effects of like Adderall and Vyvanse. I feel like I maybe have a small window of productivity, right? Like at first it kind of comes on too strong. And at the end there's like a hard crash and it wears off and you kind of have like almost a little bit of that kind of like come down kind of bummer feeling from it. And so there's kind of like a very small window of when at least for me, when I can be productive with my Vyvanse or my my Adderall, and like initially it's too strong and afterwards I just feel like kind of a piece of shit, but I have this little window that I can be productive. And what's kind of cool about Phenibut is it comes on very mild. It's a kind of very clean focus, a very kind of clean energy, social anxiety gone, just an overall feeling of well-being and feeling good and feeling at your best. And then it just kind of like very mildly kind of tapers off. As far as dosages, I think the recommended dose is like 200 to 500. It's got a very narrow dose range, meaning if you don't take enough, you're not really going to get any effects. If you take too much, you're going to have negative effects. I guess some people use it recreationally. I'm not really sure why. What I normally take, I've taken 1,000 milligrams once. I think the first time somebody gave me a couple pills to try. I took 1,000 milligrams, and I took some Focus XT, which is like, it's not a pre-workout, it's kind of like a Focus pre-workout or Focus supplement. That was a little bit too intense, a little bit too much. But I find that a 500 milligram Phenibut pill, I think the particular one I took was Serious Nutrition Solutions, or SNS, 500 milligram Phenibut, I found to be kind of the perfect dosage, and that's kind of what I took today. So, like I said, I didn't really plan out this video, but I did want to make this video because I think this supplement is probably going to be going away here in the near future. So personally, I'm probably going to stock up on some of it. But I just, you know, I know I think a lot of times us entrepreneurs, man, we're wired a little bit differently. I think a lot of times the reason we get into entrepreneurship is because of ADD or social issues or whatever else. Like, a lot of people get into entrepreneurship because they don't want to have to go in an office, or they don't want to have to work with other people. A lot of people get into entrepreneurship because it's one of the only ways, you know, people who have ADD can't really fit their square peg into a round hole. You know, a lot of times we struggle learning and working in the same ways as other people, and so a lot of times I think that causes us to go off and do our own thing and get into entrepreneurship. So I think there's probably a lot of you guys out there who kind of struggle with some of these same issues. So I thought we'd make this video about Phenibut. I thought some of you guys might get some value out of it. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments section below. And if you guys have ever taken Phenibut in the past, drop a comment below. You know, share your experience. Has it been the same as mine? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Go ahead and drop a comment below with all that. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.